We are back at Desoto Speedway in Bradenton, Florida for the running of the RC Cola 200. We are at the halfway point, 100 laps in the books, and the drivers are taking a mandatory pit stop. Let's go to the pit area with Doug Rice.
Thanks a lot, Roby. It has been frantic here in the pits as all of these cars are ready to get their service here. It has been a frantic scene here in the pits as Mike Garvey is in now, and he's getting service on his number 91. And also the leader, Bobby Gill, is in the pits. As you can see, all of these cars are getting 4 tire changes right now. And it's also a great chance for them to adjust the suspensions and try to get maybe some new springs and make some adjustment to the spring setups that they have in these cars. And it's been very frantic. We're going to try to talk with Mike here as soon as he gets through talking with his crew. The same has been true for the leader, Bobby Gill, as you can see over on the number 71 Goodwrench machine. Gill has also had a 4 tire change during this stop. So this is a luxury that these guys don't often get. Let's see if we can get a quick word here with the guy that's running third, Mike Garvey. Mike, this is a real nice luxury to get to come in and adjust on your car, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, especially after I was trying to pass Jimmy out there. I got into the side of him a little bit, knocked the toe out or bent the wheel or did something. The car wouldn't turn after that. Up until that point, the RC Cola Magna Contractor Supply Monte Carlo was running real strong. We was 2 tenths faster than the leaders. But after that, we're trying to check to see if it knocked the toe in out or what it done, but try to get the car a little bit faster the second half.
All right, so Mike Garvey was having to fight a car that had the toe in, knocked in out of it, and if you've ever had to drive a car that's out of line, that's about 100 times worse than having to fight that. So Mike Garvey still hanging on to third place, but this is going to allow him the luxury of hopefully fixing that toe-in problem and getting back into the kind of race car that he wants to be in. Tell you what, we're going to try to get over here and get to our leaders pit right now as Bobby Gill has got the number 71 machine here. And we'll swing over here real quick. I think Bobby's about ready to fire up and get back out here. We're going to lose Bobby Gill here as he's already fired up, and basically all they did now what is come in 4 tires and then he was gone. And Bobby Gill, with the overspill coming out of the rear spout there, is back into the wars here. And ironically, the leader took the least amount of time of any of the cars that have come in among the contenders. Come in, they put on 4 tires, topped off the fuel tank, and Bobby Gill is out of here. And we'll kick it back up to Roby Helm and Mark Bishardi, and we'll come back and give you some more stories here from our halftime at Pit Road.
Thank you very much, Doug Rice. And Dick Anderson, a question for you. When you're out there running, you get the car up to temperature. When you bring it in the pits and you come back and you shut it down, let it cool off a little bit, and then fire it back up and heat it back up, does that do a lot of wear and tear on the engine?
Well, it's not good for it, Roby, but it's also not that bad either. So it's not that hard on it. But if you've got a problem, it'll show up when you do that.
Such as?
If you've got a weak head gasket or something, then that's when it'll blow. When you come in there and shut the thing off and let it sit and then fire it back up 5 minutes later and go for it again.
But under these conditions, if you found that out, not much time to fix it then.
Not much time. You got time to change tires and maybe do a little adjustment or two, and that's about it, because you'll see these guys will be underway here in just a minute or two.
Well, you were right about one thing. 7 minutes is not a long time when you're trying to change those 4 tires and change shocks and springs. And Mike Garvey talking about knocking the toe in out on his car. Do you really have time to get the gauges out and measure everything, or are you pretty much guessing at that point?
Well, you can measure it, but you can't waste no time doing it. So if it's anything serious, you just got to readjust it and go.
Let's go back down to the pit area with Doug Rice. And apparently having some audio problems with Doug Rice. We'll try to get him back on the line as we look at Tracy Goodson's number 1 car. Still working on that car, and they're running out of time as it looks like we've got quite a few cars back out on the speedway. They're beginning to roll now out of the pit area. Bobby Gill, Mark, was the first guy out.
Well, like we figured, the car's handling pretty good for him. He just ran out of tires, seemed like. So all he really wanted was tires, a chance to take a drink and fuel and come on back out.
All right, fellas, time's up.
So the Hooters Cup officials from the pit tower here at DeSoto Speedway, you might be able to hear them in the background telling the drivers that time is up. It's time to bring these cars back out on the speedway, and it kind of looks like a feeding frenzy coming up behind us here on pit road as everybody coming out at once.
All right, and they got the hood back on Dickie's car.
And it looked like they got a little 200-mile-an-hour tape on there for good measure, Dick.
Little Band-Aid never hurt. I don't know which looks worse right now, the car or myself.
Well, the way the car was running, it looked like the mechanical part of the car, the engine, the handling was still in real good shape because Dave Mater, he was making tracks up through the field and looked like he may have had one of the fastest cars out there.
I knew things would shake out for us real well if we could just stay out of trouble in those early laps, but he got caught up in a wreck there that was no means by any of his fault, but he stopped for the wreck and the rest of them didn't, but I was hoping we could avoid something like that early in the race.
And it looked like that he was kind of the meat in the sandwiches. He had one car in front of him and one behind him, so he couldn't go forward and he couldn't go backwards to get back out before the field came around.
He had no choice at all of what to do except sit there and cross his fingers.
And Tracy Goodson still sitting in the pit area, so apparently they're having some more problems with that automobile because the rest of the field is back out on the speedway now, and they're lining them up for the restart. When we go back to green, we will be working lap number 101, so still 100 laps of racing yet to come as we've had a mandatory pit stop at the halfway point of the RC Cola 200 here at Desoto Speedway for the Hooters Cup late models as Jimmy Cope working his way back out on the speedway, one of the top 5 automobiles. Bobby Gill's your leader in car number 71 with Mario Gosselin, car number 10, running in the second spot. Mike Garvey, who we heard from during the pit stop break with Doug Rice, he's running in third, but he may have a handling problem on that car. Dick Anderson, do you think that might be some kind of maybe a psychological ploy that you might tell the TV reporters that you're having a problem in case some of the other teams are listening?
No, I don't really think so, Roby. Mike's a good professional racer, and trust me, if he wasn't having a problem, he wouldn't tell you he was.
Well, he was running pretty strong there with Gill and Gosselin there right before the caution flag came out. I know you made the comment that Gill and Gosselin were a little bit loose and Garvey was running real strong, and then right after you said that, we saw Garvey get loose too.
Right, but I tell you what, he was doing an excellent job considering he had a problem with his car.
How do you treat the strategy for a race like this that's split into two halves? Do you treat it as two 100-lap races, or do you pretty much just settle into a 200-lap race mode?
Well, I've ran in a couple of these, Roby, and I try to just stay out of trouble the first half, and I try not to put too much importance on the first half except trying to stay in the top 10 and stay out of trouble and then give it my best shot in the second half. So I really don't treat it like two individual races.
Tell us about the decision to start scratch tonight. You qualified 10th in the shape that you're in as a driver. We thought was very outstanding that you went out there and qualified 10th, and then you elected to go to the back for the start.
Well, we knew this first caution we were going to come in and go to the back anyway, so I figured why get up there and maybe ruin another driver's chances, or maybe get up there in the middle of the pack and get caught up in a wreck. So I knew the safest place to be was dead last, and I knew as soon as I stopped I'd be dead last anyway, so I had absolutely nothing to gain by starting up there in 10th position.
The field getting realigned on the front straightaway for the restart with 100 laps in the books. We'll be back to bring you the second half of the RC Cola 200. But first, we're going to take these messages and be right back, so don't go away. And we are back at Desoto Speedway in Bradenton, Florida, as the field under the watchful eye of our favorite starter for Hooters Cup Racing, Tony Boswell, out of Auburndale, Florida, as the field lining up and getting set for the restart. Mark Bishardi alongside Doug Rice in the pits, and also joining us in the booth, Dick Anderson, who has won 4 races this year in the Hooters Cup late model circuit, and having the injuries involved in a non-racing, I guess you could say, accident. He was a spectator after the Toledo race, had a car flip into his pit area and injured him. He's got about 11 broken ribs and a nasty cut on the side of his face. But Dick Anderson, you are a very lucky man after seeing that happen.
I'm very happy to be here, Roby, because the alternative to the shape I'm in is a whole lot worse. So I'd like to thank everybody for their cards and calls, and the whole racing community has just really treated me great through this accident. So I'm really happy to be in this sport, I tell you that.
Well, we're glad that you could join us here. I know you'd rather be out on the racetrack, but Dave Mater III taking over the driving chores under the first caution. Dick Anderson started the race. Dave Mater took over at the first caution flag. He was involved in an accident, is now 2 laps down, but he's right up alongside the leader, Bobby Gill. Dick, this might be interesting on this restart.
Yes, it could be.
Dave Mader is a hard charger. He's a multi-time All-American Challenge Series champion out of Maylene, Alabama. And Bobby Gill, the race leader, is starting on the outside. The car's in a lead lapper on the outside. The car's a lap down or more on the inside as we go back to green for the second half of the RC Cola 200 for the Hooters Cup late models. Dick Anderson looked like Mader let the leaders go on that one.
He did. He treated them the way I would have treated them. You want to get your lap back, but you don't want to mess up the leader's race.
We talked about that briefly up at Toledo as we see some of the drivers back through the pack, bumping and grinding a little bit, trying to race for position. That you got a lap down at Toledo. You kind of had a bad day on the racetrack as well. And we noticed that on one of the restarts that you let Jody Ridley go and kind of return the favor that he did for you at Huntsville earlier this year.
Exactly. This is a class bunch of race car drivers in this Hooters racing, and we've learned to treat each other with a little bit of respect. But as you can see out there, we've got about as good a race car out there on the racetrack as anyone right now.
Bobby Gill out in front. In second spot, Mario Gosselin, the 92 car. Dave Mader, we believe he is about 2 laps down. Well, now that Mader let those guys go on the restart, Dick, kind of an unwritten rule that the lap car, if he can run with those leaders, is able to do so?
That's what they've been doing to me through the years, so I imagine that's the way it goes.
So Mike Garvey, the white car, is 4th in your picture there, but he is in the 3rd spot. So Garvey is up there trying to fight for position, and I know you've been in that spot too, where you've been in a position, had a lap car in front of you, and then Mader's going to go to the outside, Dick.
I tell you what, it shows just what a really good race car we really have.
Well, it looks to me like Bobby's not as good as he was in the first half.
No, it doesn't. It looks like he's having problems.
He's holding them up.
Yep.
Dave Mader trying to get and he's blown the engine. And Garvey gets collected.
Mike Garvey's luck just continues.
For the second straight race, Mike Garvey in the wall in the 91 car. And Dick, I know that you compete with these guys every week, and I know you hate to see something like that happen.
Well, you like to beat him on the racetrack. I tell you what, Mike's a really good guy to race against. He's a real professional, and to see him go out like this, he's really had his share of this stuff at the end of the year. I hate to see it happen to him.
Kind of like the first half you had.
Yeah, I had a lot of problems the first half of the year, but you really don't like to see your competitors go out like this. You like to outrun them on the racetrack.
Mike Garvey climbing out of the 91 car. We're going to take a look at 3.
Looks like he's awful sore here.
Right. We're going to take a look at 3 different replays. When we come back, we're going to take a quick break as Mike Garvey very gingerly climbs out of the car. There you see the trail of oil out of Bobby Gill's car. So we'll be right back and take 3 more looks at it. So don't go away. We'll be right back.